It's time for City Beat, your source for all the latest news on the City of Thompson. Only on 102.9 CHTM, your radio station.
Good morning and welcome to this September 21st edition of City Beat here on 102.9 CHTM. My name is Stuart Walter and my guest this morning is City Councillor Colleen Smook.
Good morning.
Let's start off by talking about City Council. There was a couple of presentations that seems to be the theme over the past few weeks. Last week, Mayor Fensky was here and said that it's something that council and the city want to do is start recognizing the citizens who are contributing to Thompson and being good ambassadors for the city. The first one was a certificate that was supposed to be handed out for a while, but this is the first time it could actually be handed out, so it was done, to the Hanson Oliveira sisters. Could you talk about why they received recognition from the city?
Yes, last year when Cross Lake was experiencing a high number of suicides and some issues there, the girls decided to have a Christmas in July. And they went around, and I think it started out small with just gathering some games, toys, products from friends and family, and it actually grew that they ended up taking a trailer load of things to Cross Lake to distribute. It was really an uplifting thing from Cross Lake. I talked to a couple of the people I know from Cross Lake, and they were really impressed and thankful for the girls' job. So the girls, that is why they got their recognition, and from talking to them and listening to them, I know there's plans in the work to do something again this coming year.
And it's always good to see things like that coming from youth in the community.
It is, especially the youth.
There's also quite a few certificates handed out to Special Olympians. There seems to be a lot here in Thompson, and they seem to be doing a lot of good and getting recognized for their work out, not only here in Manitoba, but across the country. And I understand you have one special relationship with one of those men who was awarded a certificate.
Yes, in this circumstance, it was for bowling. Sean and his group went last in the spring, summer, and won in the provincials, Special Olympics. They come home with golds and silvers and bronze, and they were represented the city of Thompson very well. Jemiah and her brother went out east and brought home some medals and important placements. So it's just great to see. And yes, Sean Hay is my son, so it was sort of special to see him up there.
Took a bit of extra time there so you could come out from your seat to take some pictures there too.
Well, I wasn't sure whether I should have, but I figured I might as well join the proud parents.
And there isn't any reason why you shouldn't be proud. Moving on, you were featured at City Council because you are the head of the Public Works Committee and you gave your quarterly report. Could you go over some of the operational highlights?
Well, our water breaks over the last year or so, we had decreased some pressure at the water plant, and that has helped with the water breaks. We still have some, and basically the street flushing, the hydrant flushing, and that is almost complete. We're still working on a couple areas. Water utility, it's basically on base, and with the wastewater new site, it's the construction's only a few months old, but it's actually looking very good. The foundation's pretty much in there, and they're continuing. We're actually getting a tour of it as City Council, so the next person do next week's report, ask them, and they should have that. Infrastructure report, basically our roads and stuff, if anybody is looking, the money that's been put into it, the paving downtown is pretty much complete. Just a few finish up things to do there. And just to add that we are still doing potholes. So if you have potholes on your street, let's try get them done before the winter. 204-677-7970. Right now, while we have the asphalt plant here, it'll be the hot mix that we're putting in them, and we'll go back to the regular pothole mix once that has left town. Beaver and Deerwood, they're just finishing up the remediation work, and the street sweepers will be out in that area and also downtown as soon as we get rid of all the construction and that we will finally be able to get those streets swept before the winter season.
Moving on to what was probably the most controversial issue at Council on Monday. It seemed everyone had their own 2 cents to put into the discussion, and everyone made sure that their voice was heard. It was the motion to rescind executive staff wages. It was first approved at council, I believe, on August 14th, and the motion was brought forward by Councillor Manichuk at the last meeting. Could you maybe tell everyone what your comments were and why you chose to vote against the resolution?
When we did our budget last year, there was actually money allocated for the raises and they would be the amount that whatever the union got. So this is something that happens every year. So it was basically just common practice. I believe that now is not the time when we are striving to keep our city staff in place over the next couple years that will have economic impact on Thompson. It's 1%, 1.25% increase. It just betters the morale, I would hope, and of the staff. And if we are going to do any staffing changes, anything about wages and that should come at budget time, and it shouldn't be brought on as just sort of a dropped in your lap type of thing. It would be something that would be talked over and possibly talked over with staff as far as I'm concerned.
Moving on to something I believe was a bit less controversial, was the 2017 Manitoba Mining and Minerals Convention. You are going to be attending on behalf of the city. What is the convention?
The Mining and Minerals Convention, I haven't been to it. Judy Collada's been to it a number of times. Dennis Foley and Kathy Valentino have been at it over the last couple of years. And from my aspect, what I believe is important, while we see Thompson sort of downgrading maybe in the area, there is still a lot of minerals here. But more importantly, our outlying communities like Lynn Lake and Oxford House, even up to Nunavut, they are now using Thompson as a jumping off point to go and do the exploration. So, and for us to be at the convention, I've actually had experience with 3 of these mines over this past year and have worked with them over 5 years, that it's to let them know that Thompson is here, the businesses are here, that they could very well be operational out here. 2 of the mining companies alone spent over $250,000 just this summer in the Thompson area with the businesses and flying.
So why did you specifically want to be the person to attend on behalf of the city?
Well, I just feel that I'm not a shy person anymore, as you can see, and I have no qualms about approaching people and handing out information on our city, listening to conversations and talking up Thompson about what the advantages of them working out of Thompson, even for, and maybe not for the mining as such, but just for future reference, Thompson it's very important we have a voice there.
At the meeting before this last one, there was some talk about what representation would look like for the city at the convention, whether or not there would be a booth or be pamphlets and information. Is there any further direction on what you're going to be bringing with you to the convention?
No, I haven't had any further direction yet. That'll be talked about in the next few weeks.
Moving on to events, there's a few great events happening today and on Friday. Let's start off with Aurora Fest.
Aurora Fest. Well, today we've got basically the wolf howling at 1:30. So try be there. I would try be there at 1 o'clock. We have to beat 900 participants in order to get in the Guinness World Book of Records. So the schools are being involved. It's a beautiful day. Take a walk down and just be part of it. Also today we have at 3:30 p.m. Movie Stars with the Wolves at the Boreal Discovery Center, $5 and $2 charges. And at 4 p.m. the Aurora photo display at City Center Mall and the Rec Center. So, and then we still got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Pick up your little event card. They're at basically anywhere you go and look. It's there. It's been a wonderful week. Everybody's been really stoked on it.
There is another event that's taking place this evening. It's Take Back the Night.
Yes, the Take Back the Night, that's an awareness walk for the violence, not just against women, but violence in general in the community, just an awareness, and to talk to people to see what we can do to take back our community, to make it safer for people, different actions that we can take. That's at 6 p.m.
And that's starting at Robin's Donuts.
Yes,
and and Liz Lychuk will be speaking there. I believe there's also going to be refreshments. So if you're not doing anything, even if you are, go on down to it and check it out and take a part in being part of the solution.
And that's just another plug for Robin's Donuts. They're just so wonderful, and whether it be the waste pickup or that they're so supportive in the community.
Always community minded.
Yes.
And then finally, on Saturday is the event that the city is doing. It's the Residential Household Hazardous Waste Day.
Yes, September 23rd, Saturday. Come on out. It'll be basically in the city hall parking lot as usual. They will not be taking your used oil because we do take it at the city landfill all the time. And if you batteries you can take there and will be transported. But anyway, the materials for disposal, they have to be in the original containers, individual products separated. And if you go onto the city's website, you'll be able to see everything that happens on there.
So you're going to want to make sure you take advantage of that and not be like the countless people who say, I didn't know it was that day, now I got to wait till next year.
Yes, and on that note, we are in the process of working with the province on having a depot up here for hazardous waste and different things, which will be open. But seeing how it's, one of these things that's taking time, we decided they had to bring in the hazardous waste. But there will be a time when Thompson, you'll be able to do this 2 or 3 times a week out at the dump site.
And that'll just make everyone's lives that much easier.
Yes.
Finally, before we go, are there any reminders, proclamations, or other things Thompsonites might need to know for the coming week?
This coming week, September 29th, that'll be the day to remember. That's the day your taxes will be due. Normally they're due on the 30th, but September 29th is the Friday. So that is when your city taxes are due. Please go to our website for the scenarios or any penalties or what happens if they're not paid by the 29th.
That's a day that a lot of people will probably be dreading, but it's an important one to remember.
Yeah. Can I just maybe mention some of the work that we did? When we were talking about our construction, just so you know, Churchill Drive, we're in the middle of working on it. Cree and Beaver, Wolf and Wolf, Weir and Arctic, Wolf and Arctic, Nelson Road, Quartz, those are all areas that we've been doing paving, and we're continuing to do paving and remediation work. So the city is actually going to look pretty nifty. Just coming in and out of the plaza and the Burntwood Plaza parking lots, just the entrances, it's made such a difference along with the paving this year. And I'd like to thank everybody for their patience with things that have been closed down and that, but it's basically, as we can see, all very worth it.
Oh, I can attest to that, having to go into Shoppers Drug Mart a few times, just even being able to drive on that new pavement or just in front of the co-op on Thompson Drive. Even just that tiny stretch, it makes the drive that much better.
Yeah, and I'd just like to, I think the Canadian Tire parking lot, you're never quite sure which entrance you're going to be able to get in there. So thank you to Canadian Tire and the people that attend there for all their patience.
Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning, Councillor Smook.
Thank you.
If you have any questions you'd like answered next week, email them in advance to CHTMnews@arcticradio.ca. For City Beat here on 109 CHTM, I'm Stuart Walter.
City